Okay. Is everybody able to see my screen
Yep.
and not the presenter view?
Yep.
Okay. Oh shoot. Can I? Okay.
Yeah, for recording,
Okay.
there should be a thing at the top right.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
you got it.
recording. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Welcome to the Asteroid Smasher competition introduction, XFC 2022. Getting closer to the actual competition part, so very exciting. My audio sounds a little bit weird to me. Is it fine for everybody else?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. So the key information is that we will first have a qualifying kind of check mark on March 7 of 2022, which will consist of a couple of simple scenarios to prove that your code works in the environment and just that it can perform the simple actions that are required, shooting, turning, accelerating, etc. And this will be necessary to qualify before the competition. The final AI agents in the code are going to be due April 4th. So you have about a month after qualifying to get your code finished up and submitted to us. It will have to be in its own repo, as we've discussed in the past, and we'll give more detail closer to the actual date of how we want you guys to set everything up. And then the final competition date is April 9th, and we will be holding that virtually on Zoom or WebEx. So for the final competition day, these are tentative times, but just to give you an idea of what to expect, we'll start off with student presentations, probably about 5 minutes per team, and you'll create a presentation showing your solutions and results, and we'll give you a template and requirements for those presentations as we get closer. And then at noon, we'll have a competition live stream. This is a lot of fun. We'll host the competition and we will require that you have kind of a spokesperson so that we maybe can interview and ask you questions while your AI agent is competing in the tournament or in the competition. And around 2 p.m., we'll have closing statements and preliminary results. And then for awards, the full results and prizes will be resolved in the week after the competition, and you'll be notified no later than April 22 of the final results and prizes. So format-wise, each AI's solution will be evaluated in the game, and they will be playing multiple scenarios that have not been seen by the AI agents in training, which will include both single and double agent scenarios. So you won't know what these scenarios will be before the actual competition day. And in general, these will kind of be chosen to elicit certain behaviors and performance from agents. So it's not just going to be randomized scenarios. We'll be creating them. And then explainability, obviously, we stress this. It's in the title of our competition. So your solutions will be judged on their explainability. Judges will assess the quality in the presentation of explanations from the AI, and they will be scored based on ease of understanding, quality of explanations, sensibility of actions from explanations, and innovation. And go into this a little bit more, but solutions will be run through dedicated scenarios to elicit explainable behaviors. So here is kind of an example to tell you what that means. So kind of at a minimum is the terminal should have meaningful statements of outputs, not a wall of text describing every little action. And it should allow the judges to understand the decisions a controller is making in simple scenarios. So we'll have dedicated scenarios to elicit explainable behaviors. So for example, if your controller has this situation here, we might want to know which asteroid does a controller focus on and why does it decide to shoot or why not? Um, what are the most important actions that your controller might be outputting and deciding? So this will be your controller outputting into the terminal and explaining its actions while it's in this scenario. And it's going to be up to you guys, how exactly you're going to go about that. But this is kind of what might help the judges to understand these questions here might help the judges understand what your controller is doing. So scoring wise, it will be based on the number of asteroids hit over all the different scenarios that your controller is evaluated on. And there may be slight adjustments to account for specific scenarios, but teams should primarily consider that scoring will be based on the number of asteroids hit. The total scoring of the teams will have 65% is the competition performance, 25% will be your explainability, as I discussed in the previous slide, and then your final presentations will be 10%. And like I said earlier, the teams will receive guidance on the format for that final presentation. Will be a live stream. So last year, I think we did it on YouTube, but we will stream the competition on either YouTube or Twitch Live. It'll be kind of similar to an esport event. So we'll be kind of hosting and narrating as your guys' controllers go through the events. And then we might require everybody to be connected through a WebEx or other service so that we can interview you about your controller's performance while the event is happening. And we'll be recording it and posting that to our YouTube channel afterwards. So it was a lot of fun last year, and I expect it will be the same again this year. So definitely start to look forward to that live stream. And that's about it for kind of the introduction to the competition. Does anybody have any questions?
Before we get to questions, there is one thing we forgot to mention, which is prizes. We do have a commitment from our sponsor, Talus, a total prize pool amount from just Talus of $3,000, and that'll be split up between. We'll have a podium for the three best teams overall, but then we'll also have smaller individual awards for things like best explainability solution, most efficient solution, computationally efficient. Those are some examples of smaller prizes we had last year. There may be additional prizes, but at a minimum, we will have those. So if anybody has other questions, thanks for letting me interrupt, Lynn.
No questions from my side.
Sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say no questions?
Yeah, no questions.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Yeah, we'll post this recording, and of course, we'll be in Slack if anybody has additional questions. So, thanks for tuning in. Pretty short update. Lynn, did you have anything else to add?
No, I just hope everybody's starting to get excited, like we are.
I'm excited for one.
We are still figuring it out, but I think we'll start seriously working on it from December.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we'll put this in the Slack and an email as well. But we do have a quote unquote spring semester kickoff on the calendar. So there is actually I just asked if there's a calendar PDF. The calendar is on the website right now, but I'll put that in the chat real quick.
You got it, or do you want me to do it? I have it pulled up.
Yeah, go for it. And so it has all of the dates and events on there. Some of the dates have changed but they were events that have already passed. And if we're going to change dates on there, we will make sure to let everybody know. And so we have a kickoff event scheduled for January 18th. That's a
And
Tuesday.
I'll send that out in an email as well.
Yeah. And one thing that we would like to do, we'll talk more in the Slack about this, but one thing we would like to do is see some examples from teams and their solutions, what they have running so far. We'll talk more about that though in the Slack, and we'll send out announcements and things like that. So
yeah, the main things are to be aware of is that beginning of March we'll have that qualifying event, and then the competition, obviously, for your final submission.
yeah. And yeah, so actually I just asked, can we get our code looked at before the qualifying? Yeah, we'll have a number of help sessions, probably mostly by request, as needed. But yeah, we're more than happy to help look at your code. If you're stuck on something or if you just want clarification, absolutely.
So who do we contact when we are stuck on anything in the code?
So you can put that in the help channel in Slack. Are you in the Slack?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just put your question in the help channel and
Okay.
we will respond to it.
That's a good point. That we might want to consider giving people time after qualifying or a date before qualifying, and letting people know if something's not satisfied and giving them a chance to correct that.
Right. That's one reason why the qualifying is so early. It's we call it qualifying, but obviously if someone doesn't pass qualifying, we'll give them a chance to to fix things. It's not going to be, oh, this date, if you have one error in your code, you get thrown out. Yeah, so absolutely, we'll help you along the way. It's not supposed to be a weed out event where we are trying to get rid of people. Yeah, we will absolutely try to get everybody where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's that. It's more about, the code format and making sure that when it comes time for the competition, we can successfully run your code and we're not digging through like trying to figure out, which version do we run and this and that. So we want to make sure kind of it's more like your format and a couple of basic things there.
Yeah, and along those lines, we may send out some more guidelines for things you may need to do in your code. It'll probably be relatively minor, but we want to make sure that everything is apples to apples and we can execute everybody's code correctly. So, all right. Well, if there aren't any other immediate questions, we'll call that for the day, but feel free again to email or better yet, put any questions or anything in Slack.
Thanks everybody for showing up.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.